Hello. Today I am here with
Gabriel Marrero.
Gabe is a three-time founder and the current CEO of Yasubi, a bilingual WhatsApp-enabled startup modernizing how construction companies and subcontractors connect, contract, and communicate. He's now based in Birmingham, Alabama, but he's originally from Puerto Rico. Gabe is a bilingual and bicultural business leader with over 15 years experience in diverse industries, including construction, engineering, real estate, mining, and industrial food manufacturing. Gabe and I first met because we were both entrepreneurs together in the same spaces in Birmingham. So that's how we met. But then our conversations kind of shifted a little bit to his near-death experiences and his journeys with plant medicine. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So I do have some questions for you, Gabe, but if the energy goes elsewhere, we'll follow where it leads.
That's fine.
All right, so let's just start back at the beginning. What circumstances or questions, internal questions, led you to explore plant medicine in the first place?
Well, at some point in the not so distant past, I was very depressed and I felt very hollow as a person. I had gone through a lot of personal crises. My dad had passed away. He was my best friend and business partner. And I had personal relationship issues and business struggles. And all of this got me in a place of emptiness. I was going through the paces every day, but still felt like things didn't click or make sense. I felt apathetic to life. And I was sitting one day in my business, and one very good friend came by and told me, "You seem like you need plant medicine. I think that I can help you out." And she found some, got me some, and I very reluctantly held it for months. I was raised very conservative. I come from a place where the things that are viewed as okay are the things that are legal, and everything else is just sinful. And it took me to the point where I felt like life was not worth it, to say, well, I got nothing to lose. And by trying it, but I got everything to lose if I am not here for my family. So that got me to try plant medicine for the first time.
Yeah. Wow. And that was the pivotal moment for you because then everything shifted. Now, the near-death experiences, and they were plural, right?
That's right.
Did they happen before this or after this?
They happened before and after. I had one when I was very young, and I had one that happened after this. I have an autoimmune disorder that causes seizures, and they can be so bad that it stops my my breathing and my heart. And my first one happened at 15 years of age. But I discovered that even though it changed me completely from the person I was to the person I became after, the life experience that you go through also dictates the intensity of your near-death experience. So the second time it happened for me, when I was definitely older, happened about 5 years ago, almost to the day, I significantly changed because I was able to observe so much more from the experience. I was able to learn so much more.
Wow. Okay. All right. Now, was there a specific ceremony or experience with plant medicine that cemented your spiritual path, or like, were there any real pivotal spiritual experiences as it relates to plant medicine, or even the near-death experience?
Certainly. It's funny because when I tried plant medicine for the first time, I did it with all the incorrect ways and means. I read a lot on everything in life. It's just something that I'm passionate about. And I went through a lot of research through years before even trying it to understand how it was done, how the research happened, and why it stopped, and what the beliefs are, how the community works. And when I got my plant medicine, I started to microdose, but I didn't last even 2 weeks before I was just desperate for a solution, and I just did higher amount of what I was trying. And I didn't follow any rituals, any conventions. I just went to work. And I felt some effects from it. I felt some euphoria, and I felt some changes in my visuals a little bit, but it was just very mild. Went to my work day with more happiness and energy than normal, which was at that point like very different. But then I went home, and maybe 6 hours after, I sat down and I started to evaluate where life was and the things I was doing and how I should find purpose. So it was very interesting that even with a small dosage, such big change could happen if you're just halfway intentional. And that got me thinking that if I was going to do that again, that I needed to be very intentional and that I needed to be very much in tune with the changes I wanted to have in my life. So from that point forward, I started to develop this ritual in which I interact with the plant medicine in a very intentional way. And that starts weeks before I do it. So I started meditating and I started doing breath work. And that study has changed through the years since I started, but it's been something that has been more and more intentional, more and more educated, so that I can, when I get to do plant medicine, when I decide to, my mind is set on the intention for change, whatever I want to grow in. And to me, plant medicine now is a vehicle for growth. So that's what's what right now.
So it started as an alleviation of depression and kind of just getting through that turmoil and difficulty. And I know what depression feels like. I've been there as well. But just getting through that point, but there was a realization of, oh, this is so much more. And if I just set my intention to it, then I could reach different levels.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
It's like in case of emergency, break glass. When you're in depression, you don't have that.
And you can't see through the cloud. It's like, anything that you can grasp onto, you're going to. You know?
It's like being stuck in front of a frosted window, right? And you can't get out, but you can't see through.
Correct.
And then somebody gives you a hammer, and it's like, oh, I hate it with the hammer.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, what's the worst that
Got
could happen?
nothing else to lose, because otherwise I'm going to be 6 feet under. Yeah. Okay. And I do think it's important to mention here too, because you mentioned that you did a lot of research and, you're very knowledgeable and you're always seeking knowledge. Part of that knowledge is knowing the legal ramifications and what is allowed where you are. So I do want to mention that it is very important that you check the laws in your state regarding this medicine and what is allowed for you, and that everything that we're discussing here was handled legally. So very important to mention that.
Yes.
Okay, so you've walked this path many times. How do you prepare your mind, your body, and your environment to receive the medicine's teachings responsibly?
So, like I mentioned, it starts several weeks before with breath work and meditation. I start doing larger intervals than my usual. So I almost every day do 5 minutes meditations in the morning and 5 minutes at night. And I do breath work and yoga to be able to just have just a mindset every day. But as I'm gearing towards using plant medicine, I extend my meditation, I extend my breath work for more minutes and more minutes till I'm getting to the point of doing the plant medicine. And that helps me start to visualize, where am I at this point in life? What is a challenge right now? What is a challenge as a person for me right now? And understand also that what I'm working with is my person. I'm not working with the circumstances around me. I can't change anything around me. I can only change the things that I'm projecting outwards. So all that work happens before I do anything. And then when I'm getting to the day of doing the plant medicine, I start setting up my ritual. And my ritual is not only a mental preparation, but a physical preparation. I set myself up with a certain space. My apartment, my house, my place of being for the ritual will be clean and organized. I will have a soft space. I will have a hard space. I will have a dark space. I will have a light space. I will have a playlist of music that is mostly instrumental, because music is extremely powerful when you're doing plant medicine. So you don't want to be guided by the lyrics into a place you don't want to be at.
Right.
And then I also set up my medicine itself as a tea, and I do a tea ritual. And the idea is to have all these things to get my mind towards a mindset of change and a mindset of preparedness. People talk about having a bad trip or having a darkest night when they're trying any plant medicine, but that's very, very personal. It was not the medicine, it was your mindset that got you there. It may be that you needed to go through that challenge to get there, or it may be that you had thoughts that were dark, that was trauma that was trapped there, that you are not able to confront. And when you're getting to interact with the plant medicine, it's going to bring the things that are a challenge forward, and you have to be ready for it. So the whole intentionality of doing the ritual and doing the breathing and doing the spaces is so that I don't have any outsourced influences that are challenging me and that I'm working exactly on my person. So I am in a place that I am comfortable with on my five senses. There's no smells or touches or anything that's a sound or anything that I see that can get my mind off of the mindset of change that I want to accomplish.
Wow. That is probably the most intentional effort that I've heard of someone, doing this work. And I'm sure you're able to go really deep with that.
Yeah.
We'll get into like what you've come to, some revelations or realizations. I did want to mention, though, you said you can only work on you, and you can't necessarily, be concerned about others and, changing anything on the outside. However, I will say, at least from my experience and from what I've heard, is, when you work on yourself, the outside does change too.
Oh, completely.
Like
yes.
your environment does change,
Of course.
and the people that you surround yourself with changes once you
you attract what you're making, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's completely true.
Exactly. That's how we came together.
Exactly. 100%.
Okay, so let's do this. So you definitely gave some how-to instructions there. Is there anything specific that you would want to give, like other than naming like specific medicines or anything like that? Is there anything, any like instructions that you would want to give?
I would say be smart about what you're doing. Whatever medicine you're using, make sure that you are finding the correct sources for it and that you are understanding how it interacts with your body and what needs to happen. If you need to be on a full stomach, be on a full stomach. If you need to take your vitamin C, take your vitamin C. If you need to have fats inside of your body to be able to have absorption of whichever medicine you're doing, have that. Make sure that you follow the knowledge of the ones that came before you. Because if you do that, your experience is going to be a lot more pleasant and you're going to be able to get the most out of it, as opposed to just rushing through it, not preparing yourself, and then having a disappointing moment and say, oh, this doesn't work, or I tried it and it was nothing for me. It's very important to be aware of what you're working with, how it works, and prepare yourself for that.
Very important. And I love that because I do think that there are some people exploring this space without intentionality and without the preparation work. And there's a lot too, even other than plant medicine, there are some other, energy work and breath work and these other things that people are trying to do without having that intention and setting, the expectations of what might happen, because they are impactful. Even though you say, it's just breath work. No.
Breath work can change your life in 5 minutes. And if you're just joking around with it, it will be crazy intense and it will be overwhelming and you will lose your mind for a moment, and that can be very, very bad.
Yes.
And also, I think we talked about that in the past. Breathwork is also something that you have to be very mindful because it's a big strain on your body.
Yes.
And for a person like me that has an autoimmune disorder and I have a neurological involvement, there's certain breath work that I can't do. I tried it once in my life and it was so intense that I almost had a seizure. And I had to go through my emergency, abortives, and it was very, very bad. So you have to be aware that even if you're not interacting with any plant medicine, anything that you do on your body that is intense, it may cause an intense reaction, and you have to be in the right place, and you have to be set up yourself correctly to avoid having any issues with it.
Yes, and I'll add to that too, that even if you don't have, a physical situation going on like you do, you also need to be concerned about your nervous system regulation, because
100%.
There's different types of breath work. Some keep you in the parasympathetic and some dive deep into the sympathetic.
That's right.
And if you don't have your nervous system regulated, that could be too much for you, and you could really have an adverse
completely
effect. Yeah.
And that's something that maybe most people that listen here may not know, but you should be able to figure out, whereas your body is much more leaning towards one or the other, or is balanced between the two. There's a lot of neurological conditions and disorders that affect either or system, And there's tests out there. You can test yourself before you do anything. And you can understand if your parasympathetic system is the one that's reacting on you or is the one that you can't control. And you should find breath work that works with the things that you can work with. Because if you have an unregulated system and you attack it with breath work, it will be overwhelming.
Yes.
And that can be very detrimental to you. You don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah. It could make you really shut down too.
Yes.
Like you're wanting this expansive experience, but it could be the opposite.
Yes.
Because your body's trying to protect you.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into kind of some of the revelations that you've had in your journeys. I don't know if you want to start kind of chronologically or separate it into plant medicine versus near death.
I think I go chronologically, and I can do just a short sentence or two on each of the big ones.
Okay.
I think that will be the easiest for me.
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's go.
So at 15 I had encephalitis. It was the pathogenesis for the Behçet's disorder that I have, that I deal with in my life, and it just happens to have neurological involvement. So it's a vasculitis. It's an inflammation of vascular tissue, and then your brain happens to be vascular tissue. So then sometimes that gets inflamed. I was in a hospital 21 days. I was in and out of a coma and then seizures when I was not. And I was near death more than once at that point. And it was a 21-day long bad trip, which is what people consider a bad trip, right? It was a very dark, very lonely space. And I was in an isolation ward at a hospital because I didn't know what I had. And so imagine that you are on whatever, psychedelic substance, and then you get thrown into a white room with people in hazmat suits. And it's a very overwhelming, overstimulating space. When I was talking about like preparing yourself, you want a safe space. You want things that are good to the touch. You want things that smell good. You want things that are good to the eye, because you don't want that. And I was exposed to a space that was the complete opposite. So I spent a very long amount of time in a very bad place, and I was a very, very conservative kid growing up. I was very religious, deeply Catholic. To that point, I was a fervent churchgoer and all those things. And the big thing that happened to me was that it was a challenge of faith, in the sense of for a point there, I was dead, and I came back, and I found nothing in my experience, which is very interesting. I felt like all I found was darkness at the other side, and I couldn't find any help, and I couldn't verbalize asking for help during those 21 days either. So I was completely out of communicating with the outside world, and I was trapped in a world where I was unable to communicate also. So it was a lot, and this experience had hallucinations that were horrendous. I saw the world inflating like an inflatable house, and everything kept just closing and closing into me, and I would stop breathing and I would pass out, and I would come back up, and that would repeat over and over and over for days. So it was being trapped in hell, and plus having a near-death experience in between. And that made me go from being a very shy and very religious kid to being a very much opposite kind of person. So it made me a very rebellious and a very extroverted person, because I felt like I went through life holding on to all the things I didn't say, and then I got to the end, and then I couldn't say anything anyway.
Wow.
So it was the rebel in me was awoken in a very different way than for most teenagers. And but that changed my person significantly, and that changed the way I did life. I did school, I did business, and I went through a lot of challenges through those years, because then I had seizures and hallucinations every couple of years. And at the beginning, I had them every couple of days. I didn't know what they were. I went to a doctor, and they told me everything was fine. They scanned my brain and said, well, you recovered, so you should be fine. So I had all these, again, hallucinations. I was seeing the world like inflate around me, and I would pass out while being alone. And but the doctor said it was good. So then I said, it's just me. I'm just crazy. So I spent all these years in life thinking, well, I'm just crazy. And I feel like for a lot of people, they go through trauma like this and they go to a doctor and everything seems fine. So, nobody told me about like, you need to, even though your regions in your brain look like they don't have scarring, your chemistry in your brain has changed and they don't check for brain chemistry when they're doing MRI. So I'm being affected by these changes within me,
Right.
but I don't show up in a test. And therefore, you have to work with rebalancing yourself and finding ways to make that work. That didn't happen. So, it just was very bad, and I was not doing anything to help myself.
Mm-hmm.
I gained a lot of weight. I got super sick. And then after that, I lost a lot of weight. And the doctor said that I was sick because I had too much weight, so I lost a whole lot of weight. And I kept being sick. And then my body was sick in other ways. And then I got sick till almost death at 28. I had pancreatitis from gallstones that the doctors also couldn't find because, I don't know how really, but I was near death again. And I randomly was able to remember I had a friend that had a doctor father, and I called and I said, I'm en route to a hospital. I need help. I feel like I'm dying, and they're saying that there seems to be nothing wrong with me. And he, at 1 a.m, went to the hospital with a surgeon friend, and they were there when the ambulance came in, and they checked on me, and my pancreas had stopped functioning because I had gallstones that were so big they stopped blood flow. And by the time they were starting to cut me open, my body was dying from the legs up, and I was already like I had no sensation in like 75% of my body. And again, it's just moments of realization, and I came down from that point, and I think that's when gratefulness started to happen in my life. When the first near-death experience happened, I was just anger and rage, and when the second one happened, I was just grateful because I had experienced years and years of pain of different kinds. I had, when you have gallstone problems, by the end I couldn't eat. So I spent 1 year just eating like pickles and water. And I could understand that I was never going to be the same, but that I had an opportunity to be different. And so that was a big change. At that point, I started to learn how to eat. So I changed my diet, and that I don't eat meat and I don't eat eggs. And I do that not just because I have respect for nature or anything else, which I do, but because I discovered that my body couldn't handle eating any other foods. And I discovered all of this because of this, touch with death that got me to respect my body more and want to be better. So I went there and I said, I'll take it, I'll accept it, I'll embrace it. And I started changing everything. And I spent now more than a dozen years, right, without any of that in my life, and my physical health and my gut health and my mental health has been better because of it.
For sure.
Yeah. So that got me through those early life near-death experiences, and then I went through this experience with plant medicine I mentioned before, and I discovered that I could get the benefit of the near-death experience without the significant pain and almost being dead. Yeah. And there was huge realization to be had from doing plant medicine. Mind you, it's not as intense, but also you don't have to go through the significant amount of pain, being cut open or being on a freaking ventilator or being, in a hospital trap for days.
Right.
And I went through the plant medicine, and I did a couple more sessions that were much more intentional. I built my ritual, and I gained a significant amount of gratefulness in life. And that got me to my latest near-death experience that was about 5 years ago. And I was sitting at a bar interviewing somebody for my restaurant business that I had. And I'm sitting there, and we're at a bar because I'm testing this person's bar experience, right? So I'm talking to them about like the liquor program at the bar we're in. And the bartender from the place comes in and sees what we're doing. So he sits in and he's talking to us. And we have a sampler of mezcals, and we're talking about, the nose profile and the origins. and everything else. And all of a sudden, I hear the bartender talk to me, and he says, "Arr, bar, 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 bar." And I'm like, "Oh God, what was that?" And I tried to tell him, "You sound so funny. You sound like the parents at the Peanuts cartoon."
Yeah.
And then when I talk to him, I say, "Arr, tar, 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 tar." And I, in my mind, it's like, "Oh God, what's going on?" And my eyes went back into my head, and I fell into this sphere of just mist, this gray and brown mist. And I am not me, but I am me. And I am a baby being carried in the arms of a woman who could be my mother, but it's not. And I am out here being carried, and as a baby, I can't see anywhere, but I can see things, and I see experiences that happen in my life as I'm a baby. And as I'm getting older, I get dropped on the floor, and I can start crawling. And as I crawl, I can move, and I see these different like milestones in life, and I start walking, and I look, and I see, the first time I rode a bike, and I hit a trash can, and that was like stuck in my mind, and I see myself growing, and I see myself interacting with my brothers and my cousins, and I see school and my fights, and I see abuse, and I see darkness as I'm growing, and I see things that I may have not kept at the forefront of my heart, but they were affecting me nevertheless. And I see myself growing and becoming a teenager, and I see myself dying in that hospital room, and I see myself not being there, and I see life happen without me. And then I see the end, and I see the beginning, and I go again, and I'm in the hospital room, and then my life. And then life happens, and I see the decisions that happened that got me through life to the point that I was in at the moment that I had this experience. And I see myself meeting this person in my life, and I see myself going through life with this person, and I see mistakes that were happening and decisions that were made, and I see myself being alone, and I see myself dying, and it starts over again, and I see my life happening again, and I see myself making decisions, and I see myself making mistakes, and I see myself going through life, and I see myself dying again, and then I see myself one last time, and I'm going through life again, and I see all the decisions, and I see all the people, and I see all the places, and I see myself gaining gratitude, and I see myself getting older. And then at the end, instead of dying, I see a light, and I walk to it, and I wake up, and I'm being taken out of this place, carried by people at the place, and waking up and being grateful and laughing while being in a humongous amount of pain because I'm alive, and it's fantastic. And, gratefulness has started at that point and has never stopped.
Wow.
Hey there, thanks for watching. This is Katie Marietta Tondon with Lit Up, and the interview that you are watching, it's not over yet, so keep on watching. There's a lot more gems coming in the second part. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to invite you to the free community that we have available. The details will be in the description on how you can join. But essentially, we're building a community for spiritual seekers and lightworker practitioners who need to go through this thing together. We need to explain what's going on. Sometimes things that we're experiencing we can't really discuss with other people who don't understand fully. And we're creating a welcoming and open space to get it all out. And also, if there are any gifts or intuitive abilities that you want to work on practicing, you can do it in this space as well. So consider joining the Lit Up community and look at the description for the details there. Thanks again for watching, and let's get back to it.
That is amazing. And I'm sorry, it just hit me emotionally because when you're watching yourself go through those decisions and having that realization of, well, it's all me. I made all those decisions. Or even if it was like, not what really happened, but like maybe you were completely seeing what would happen, but it's your intentionality
that gets you anywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
So gratefulness has been kind of the theme with a couple of your experiences then.
Yeah.
So were there any other kind of larger themes that you experienced?
I think that the biggest overarching theme is that just like the only thing in life you can control is yourself, you have to understand your body. And I have a particular body that probably is not like everybody else's, and that has given me much more rude awakenings on, life. But I think everybody's job is to stop listening to 100 million things and start listening to themselves. Because before you can find an answer in a podcast or in a TikTok or at a doctor's office, you need to listen to your body. And your body will tell you where to head to first. And if you're rejecting what your body is screaming at you, then you're just not going to find the answers. So
yeah, and I would add to that too, not only listening to your body and like the physical sensations that but also the voice inside, the internal compass, listening to your heart, like really getting into like, what is it that I need in this moment? And, just like really kind of coming into like oneness with yourself, physically and emotionally and everything. It's all together, but it's like really going inside to,
I agree. And I would add to that we're all different. And it's interesting because you said listening to your voice. And so I have this interesting condition called aphantasia. So I don't have a mind's eye. And to me, for example, being a near-death experience or being on a plant medicine experience is very much a picture of the moment. I don't have a mind's eye. I don't see the visuals that I see whenever I'm doing any plant medicine. I know that are mine, but they're tied up to whatever substance I'm using because I usually don't have that. It doesn't exist.
You can't visualize.
I can
normally,
visualize
like
things
when you meditate
whatsoever.
and okay.
I don't see my mother if I think of my mother.
Oh wow.
And I don't have an internal dialogue either. So when I talk to people about doing things like that, I also tell them it's okay if you're meditating and there's no dialogue because you may not have one. And it's okay if you meditate and you don't see anything because I don't. If I close my eyes, I just see static. And a lot of people say, well, that's fantastic. You're meditating immediately. And you say, well, that's just not exactly true. I still have thoughts that race and happen. And sometimes my thoughts are, because there's no visual, my thoughts are so much, so fast that it's overwhelming, right? I don't have a dialogue, so my thoughts are not there's no conversation between two Gabes happening in my head. I just have this database that I go through in my head. So it's very different than for example, if you have you close your eyes and you think of an apple, and you can see like, oh, it's a Honeycrisp and it looks like this, and the lights is like this.
I can smell it even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that makes you a very particular special person that can have this visualization of not only visual but also smell and probably sounds in your mind. I have a visualization of sound. I can hear songs. I can hear tone and pitch very well in my mind. I have to, which is funny, I need to have my eyes open to visualize the apple. If I close my eyes, I can't visualize the apple. But because my eyes are open and the world's here, my visualization of the apple, it's like a Pepper's Ghost. It's like a projector hitting a sheet. And it's like very diffuse and it's very far away. But it's only when my eyes open. If my eyes are not open, then it's just static.
Nothing. So, but when you have experienced plant medicine and the near-death experiences,
It's a completely different deal.
You do have the visualizations.
I'm living a movie.
Okay.
And it's like, I've discovered that, and that's interesting also about the dream state. If I am coming out of a dream, I can visualize everything very, very well. I'm living in the dream. And
so maybe it's more to do with like theta.
Yeah, it's definitely the state of your brainwaves, 100%.
Yeah.
And somewhere in my brain, when I had encephalitis, something changed. So I used to have a mind's eye, and I don't have it anymore. So when I was younger, I did, and after I didn't. And I have done a lot of breath work and a lot of like meditation to try to see if it's something that I'm just blocking. But the truth is that I function this way. I have my eyes open and I'm looking out and I'm trying to visualize the apple we were talking about. I can see it there very diffusely. And I know that is the way it works. So if I'm doing meditation and I want to do a visualization of something, I keep my eyes open. And if I want to empty my mind, I close my eyes. But that doesn't work the same for everyone. So, I've discovered when I'm doing plant medicine and I'm guiding a friend through it, I remind myself that I am this person and I'm this way. So I ask them before we start. It's like, what do you see? How do you see it? So that then when we're breathing, I can help get to the point where they're visualizing or not visualizing.
Yeah, because everybody's going to have a different experience. 100%. Everybody's working with a different makeup. And okay.
So don't read the book and think it's going to work for you because it worked for the person that wrote the book. Just like prescription medicine. It doesn't work 100% for 100% of the people. For the people that it works fantastically. Find the thing that works for your person.
Yeah.
Find your recipe for success internally. And then work with that to be able to grow as a person.
Very good point. Okay, now how have your experiences influenced your spirituality? Because you were raised Catholic and you were devout and everything, but what has shifted? What are your kind of spiritual beliefs now? And knowing that this is a lifelong journey and they may evolve even 100%. More.
But one thing that I've always said is I'm gonna be myself and believe 100% in who I am every day of my life. And if I'm proven wrong by myself or others, I am completely open to accept change.
Right.
And that's happened my whole life. Before any of this happened, I was very open to understanding that my reality today is not going to be the one tomorrow. And, after having encephalitis, I was no longer very conservative. I was very rebellious. I'm very, very much an atheist and very much anti anything that is a spirituality. I found it silly, and I found it a short-sighted, and I found it just a absurd belief, and I found it also like a worthless
pursuit.
Yeah, and
because you had seen darkness, only darkness. There was
because I had been death, and there was just darkness.
Yeah.
And but I thought, and but that was very related to my formation too, because in Christianism, you are raised to believe that you're living for what comes after. So if there's nothing after, why am I living? And afterwards, when I went through different experiences and also having my son, I started to believe that as an atheist, that was a very incorrect way of seeing life. Even before I changed my spirituality to what it is right now, I started to accept the joy of being alive and having the things that life gives you. Like, having a kid, that just changes. You see that little ball of weird smells, and you're like, oh my God, what is this, right? And they go through their life through the little paces and little changes, and they tell you they love you, and they tell you they hate you,
and they teach you more than you teach
just
them.
So much, yeah. And it's like, wow, this kid told me they hated me, and I know he doesn't mean it because he doesn't know what it means, but he hurts so much,
right?
And and they tell you they love you, and it's like, I don't know if he knows what that means, but his eyes are full of joy, and it means so much to me that I mean everything to him. And then I went through these different changes, and I went through my first plant medicine trip, and I went out and I said, I don't think I can be this person I used to be, because this person was not grateful. And again, be grateful is everything. I wake up every day, every morning, and every time I open my eyes, I say, I am so grateful that I'm alive and I get to breathe one more day. And being a rejecter of life makes you not be a grateful human, and I can't be both.
Right.
So I started changing the way I live, and I have been always, again, a nerd, so I read about a lot of things. So I've read about the history of Christianity, I've heard about the history of Buddhism, of Hinduism, of Islam, and of Zoroastrianism. I've read the history of the religions that are dead. I've read the Popol Vuh. I've read about the Sumatrans, and I've read about how monotheism came out to be and polytheism came out to be, and how they interact. They changed on the Greeks and the Romans, and I came to understand that religion is just a vehicle for spirituality, and that the idea of the priest, of the shaman, is just a person that's there to guide the people that are unable to stare into the void and be okay with it. And I have gone through it, and I've stared into the void, and I've been okay with it now that I've grown and I've passed through all these challenges that my body and life has given me. And there's no way that I can be mad at religion and spirituality, because even though a lot of religions have abused the way that they have their subjects and their followers be a part of it, religion is there because people are looking for a place to put their faith, because not everybody's able to go through the darkest path and understand that that is just okay. That here where we are now is a beautiful moment, just a blimp in existence, and that you have to take it all in, and that you have to be the best you can be for yourself and others, because at the moment of all the lights going off, your last thought is going to be about, did I do right while I was breathing? And it doesn't matter if after that there's nothing or if there's everything. None of that changes the fact that you're here right now and this is what you got. And for me, religion means, and spirituality means, there is a path to become a better self, and it may take my whole life, it may take a moment, and spirituality is that pathway that takes people there. So I am very spiritual now. I am not very religious, but I respect religious people, I respect spiritual people, and I respect every sort of spirituality and every sort of religion.
And I'm sure you just respect every human being.
Of course.
Because I'm guessing, at least this is what I've come to is, we are all one. We're all in here trying to do this thing together. And we're all just trying to find the truth.
That's right. And that involves forgetting and forgiving. And it's we all make mistakes. We make mistakes, and we have to forgive ourselves first. But other people make mistakes, and we meet people at the wrong time in life. And sometimes that means that a great person can be bad to you, or you can be bad to them. And then at a different time in life, you will get the lesson that they were meant to give you, or they will get the message you were meant to give them, and that's okay. And you have to let go. You have to let go of people that are seemingly great, and you have to let go of people that are definitely bad. And that doesn't mean that you're good or bad. That doesn't mean they're good or bad. Life changes you. And forgiveness is very hard, because there's sometimes people that do things that are horrendous to you and to people that you love. But the truth is, holding to the grudge doesn't let you grow. Holding to the hate doesn't let you grow. You have to move on, because that's the only path to growth.
Right. And it kind of goes back to hurt people. And so once you can see that, even about someone who has done something to you that is horrible. There, like you said, there are some horrible things that happen in your life. But once you realize, well, they were hurting, and that is why they inflicted harm on me, you're able to kind of shift your mindset to some degree to have compassion for them, because you're like, well, you don't know what led up to them being in the space where they could do that to you. And so it starts with compassion and understanding of their own hurt and their own trauma that's led them to that part.
That's right.
Kind of opens the space for forgiveness at that point.
You're not forgetting about your body. You're not discounting yourself by understanding others. Even if somebody hurt you, if you're in a war zone and a soldier shoots you, you are going to be angry. You're going to be mad, but he's also a soldier and he's doing the same thing you're doing. And you guys got in a spot where there's only hurt that can happen. And when you're a child and something happens to you and somebody abuses you, you feel like there's no control because you were a child, and that's true. But adults are broken beings, and society and life puts people in horrendous places. And the fact that they were an adult, and sure, they should know better, doesn't mean that they did not have a horrendous upbringing, that they didn't have all the life things that may seem trivial to you, but that they were affecting them so much that they ended up where they are. And it's super hard. And, we were talking about visualization in your mind. And for some people, if you're able to see and smell and hear and have these memories live, it is a lot more painful than people like me, because I can't see the memories when I close my eyes. So I remember them. And if I have my eyes open, I can see them more. If I have my eyes closed, I don't. All of this affects your growth. All of this affects the forgiveness process.
Gosh.
All of this affects the
point.
grudges. If I have a very visual memory, I am much more prone to PTSD. There's a lot of research on this. People that are visual, people that are able to, you were talking about being able to remember smells. If you can remember smells, if you have and there's a name for it, but I am going to call it a polyphacetic mind because I don't remember the name. if you have a mind of this type, you remember things at a degree that is hundredfold what I remember. I remember the emotions of the moment. I remember, for example, for me, and I can talk about this now more freely, I remember being afraid. I remember being in pain. I remember thinking, why is this happening to me? And I remember thinking, why is he doing this to me? As opposed to other people that can see it and they can view it. So then they get triggers in life because they can see things that are similar, and then they get shocked into it.
Yes.
And it's a lot harder, but a lot of the work with plant medicine for people like that can be working through that so that doesn't happen again. And, for a person like me, that doesn't even come to my mind. So when I talk to people, I want to understand, what kind of mind do you have? How is your mind different than mine? So that when I talk, I'm not shooting myself on the foot, because what I am saying applies only to people like me, not to somebody like you. I can't put myself on your shoes, but I can be empathetic and sympathetic to the person that you are.
Right. And that's just a really important point about people who are exploring plant medicine, is having a guide. Just having a guide, period. Super important. But also having a guide who is going to meet you where you are.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about how your journeys have impacted you in entrepreneurship. Would you say that it's had a lot of impact on how your day-to-day operations are, or I don't know, how you go get them, or anything?
Yeah, 100%. First of all, I was raised in a culture of service. My mother and father come from a very poor community. My mom was born in a house made of mud. My dad lived in a house that had 15 people in 2 bedrooms, and they worked the fields, and they were indentured servants for these landlords for years and years. My mom went on to become a servant for a doctor. And when my dad became an engineer and made his money and came back, he made a promise that he was going to buy all this land back from the landlords, and that he was going to give it to the people, their family, or neighbors, or friends, because they needed a chance to own their own property and own their own futures. And he did this while I was alive, and he changed the way I see life. I was raised not only doing business, but also interacting with people in a very personable level. And when I went through my encephalitis at first, I went through an era of rebelling even against that. And then when I started doing business, I understood that it was just a part of life, but I didn't go internally as much as when my dad died. My dad had cancer and died 60 days after to the day, and I was there with him the 60 days. And I talk about this because this is not my near-death experience, but it was the death of my parent, he was my biggest influence in life, and he changed the way of life. But he was sick in the hospital, and they had to close the hospital visits because he had so many people coming in that he was obstructing the traffic of nurses and doctors.
Wow.
So we had 80 people in line coming in to see. They had some politicians coming in with the helipad of the hospital in helicopters. They had people coming in like military gear. It's like, who are all these people, and what happened? And he's like, my dad changed the life of all these different people. And you talk to him, and he looked like the most normal guy sitting at a bar having a beer, talking about life and business. And he, will tell me these stories about growing up and being poor. And he told me, all I want in life is to just give all these people a chance. So when you live your life, lead by example, give a chance to everyone so everybody can have a chance to give. And, I've lived my life like that. And, through all these different experiences in business, I've slowly been more and more minded into that. And then I had this plant medicine experience, and I decided that, I was completely going to put myself in that path. And when I had my near-death experience, I decided that not only am I going to dedicate myself to the path of changing the world by making opportunities, for people, I'm going to make that at a scale that can impact life for everyone. So I decided to do a tech startup in a space that is underutilized and that also impacts a community that is very close to me because it's my Hispanic community. And there's a community that works very hard but has limited opportunities for growth because of the way the system is designed around them. So, my plant medicine and my near-death experiences and my near being near death experiences have changed the person I am, the person I want to be, and how I want to be remembered as. Even if I'm remembered for a moment in life and I become dust, I want to be able to do the most I can do to change life, make life better for others.
Well, and I can mirror that to you, because when we first started meeting, I just reached out to you and I was like, hey, like, you're doing a marketplace, I'm doing a marketplace. Let's just see, if you've got some tidbits. Not only did you have some tidbits and some wisdom to share with me, but like, you just opened my mind to so many different things to look into. And you were just so open with sharing. And then you were like, okay, and let's meet up. And I could feel the generosity and the willingness and just the desire to help others, because I was just, saying, hey, like, I just wonder if you could maybe help me out a little bit. And you were like, yes. And so I felt that, and I want to mirror that back to you, because you are living what you're saying. So,
well, yeah, thanks. Yeah. If you see somebody that has a spark and they are just tiny spark, and you have a can of fuel, why don't you just give them the can of fuel, let them go?
Yeah.
Like, if you are coming to me, I will give you everything I can so that you can be the most you can be. And then I just throw you out there and you can figure it out. Yeah. And if you need me again, you reach back.
Right.
I can't guide you if you don't ask me. I can't help you if you don't ask me. And I'm also not going to solve your problems. I'm going to point the right direction.
Yes.
But let's do it.
Yeah.
Anyone that needs it, they can come in and ask. And if I have the time, I will give you my time, because that's the best I can do in life. If I die poor, but I feel like I've helped people have a fulfilled life, then I'm rich in spirit, and
Absolutely.
That's all that matters.
Absolutely. Well, it's beautiful that you've figured that out, because that's living with grace, that's living with honor, that's, it's everything that we all should aspire to. Okay, so let's see. All right, we're just going to go into lightning round now. There's just a couple of questions, and we'll just dive right into that real quick. Okay, one word that captures the essence of your most recent journey.
Flags.
Flags?
That's right.
Okay.
I learned to discern better on green and red flags that I've known for a lot of time.
Oh.
And my last trip helped me cement that, so that I am aware from the beginning, because again, I'm a very giving person. So I have to see the flags, so that I have to let people know, because it's for their betterment as well.
Yes.
That the flags are there.
Yes.
And, being nice doesn't mean that you can't be completely honest. And being honest is the most important thing.
And having boundaries as well.
Completely.
Yeah.
So, the flags are what I discovered there, and what I discovered that my intention for this year, which was very much related to this, has been revealing itself. I've done a couple experiences this year to be able to get to that point. My goal for the year was selfishness, and the good kind of selfishness. And so it makes a lot of sense that flags was certainly what came out of that.
Okay.
Because being selfish, the right kind of selfish, means that you're taking care of yourself and that person, because you're at the early stage setting out the boundary, so that there is not confusion and conflict later that's going to affect that relationship. It doesn't matter if you cut it short. It's better for both of you if you avoid the hurt. So that is the lesson.
And you have to serve yourself first before you can serve others.
100%.
So if you're just giving, or letting people walk all over you, or whatever the situation is,
then what are you doing?
Yeah, you're done before you've even begun.
Yeah.
So
you're incomplete. You can't do that.
Okay, so you solidified, or I guess clarified, some of those red flags, green flags for yourself and your own.
Yeah, I think that I figured out a better system.
Okay.
To do it, a better mental checklist to be able to be aware of it at the moment of communication, so that I can be check. Okay.
Right.
Perfect. Hey, blah 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 blah.
Yes.
So step back.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love that. Okay. All right. One quick fill in the blank. Integration means what?
Learning gratefulness. I think it is the most important thing. Integration means being grateful to be alive, being grateful to be yourself, being grateful to be of service to others, being grateful to say there's an expiration date to this, and when I get there, I'll be the best version of myself and I'll be happy about it. So gratefulness.
I love that. And I'm so glad that we get to end on that because that is beautiful. Okay, so thank you, Gabe, for your time today. Appreciate it. So if today's conversation lit a spark in you, you can join our free community to keep exploring conscious, integrity-based paths to awakening. I will include notes below, so feel free to join us. And thank you for watching today.